Hello again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
It is that time, your favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews and your fantasy league. You got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. Like Lindsay, Sutton, and Judy. We are that mile high Broncos country.
All right, here we are. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special live Bourbon Broncos No BS off-season edition as we get ready to talk about what we've missed while most of us have been in quarantine for these past few months and having kind of ourselves a little off-season as we get ready to go into, hopefully, a new season of Broncos football. So before we start, I just want to give a real quick shout-out. Please go on to, if you have listen to podcasts, if you have a podcast listening device, go on and rate our podcast. Make sure you're liking our Facebook page. Follow any of our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace. We have it going down on the bottom. Make sure you're following all those and give us a comment and a like. Real quick, if you guys don't know who we are, we're just a fan-based Broncos page, Broncos podcast, Broncos. We have David's going to start writing some things here in a little while. We're going to have some articles coming out for you guys, so that's going to be good. We're just here for you guys. We have the same questions you guys do, and we just like talking Broncos with Broncos country, basically. So real quick, go around. We have Kev, Dan, David, Matt, and Ayla joining us today as we are got to talk off-season football. Kevin, did I miss anything on the plugs there?
Don't think so. You did a good job.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you learn from the best, right?
All right. So obviously during the season, we're going to be bringing you a lot more live content, and we have a lot of cool things coming up for you guys this season that we're really excited for. So hopefully you guys are following us, and we can bring you guys that. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free, join us in the comments. We'll make sure that we are talking to you guys because that's what we're here for. All right. First of all, how's everybody doing on these in this quarantine time, huh?
It's been
Groundhog's Day.
Mm-hmm. What day is it?
Right.
I mean, literally, you can't tell a day of the week. It's
we're like
weird.
3 weeks away from training camp, and it's not March anymore, and that's kind of weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Hard to comprehend it's July.
Yeah, and it's hot out somehow. That happened quick for some reason.
Yeah, boy,
Like
did it
stinking
get hot.
hot.
Yeah.
For no
Yeah.
Jeez, and Lou.
Okay, well let's get into it. Let's talk about what we missed in the Broncos offseason. So obviously we did the draft show, and since the draft show, there's been pretty big things come up. Most recently, Mike Shanahan being inducted into the Ring of Fame, and I think that's huge. I think that's a huge thing for Broncos country. I mean, he's won, was it 2 or 3 Super Bowls? Was it 3? Did he win all 3 of them? Or was it just the 2?
Just the 2.
Okay, so he's got 2 Super Bowls, a winning record. Obviously, he did a lot of good things, and I'm going to say the one thing I remember about his offense is he always had just an amazing running back. It didn't matter what running back was back there; he's putting up 1,000 yards, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, he just had this zone blocking scheme that everybody knew was coming. It wasn't a secret what he was about to do to you. His offensive line just executed it so well that everything else kind of fell into place for him, and 1,000-yard rushers he was able to pick up really anywhere he wanted.
his impact too, and like the history of the league. Look at the offenses now. And Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, that's what he's running. Sean McVay comes from that school as well. Matt LaFleur in Green Bay comes from that school as well. And so he created a new way to play offense.
Yeah.
Like he should be a Hall of Fame head coach, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, I love that you brought up Kyle Shanahan because does anybody else feel like we totally missed the boat not grabbing him? Like,
Yeah.
could have been the Shanahan legacy getting passed down somehow. I don't know. When it came up that we should have, in my opinion.
And to me, I think there was still a little bad blood, honestly, between Elway and Shanahan. And, there's politics that goes behind the scenes for that, which is, why Shanahan has had to wait until now to get into the Ring of Fame. He's been eligible for some time, but it sounds like they've been able to at least come together enough to recognize that, he damn well belongs there.
Yep, absolutely. And then Kyle Shanahan. Go ahead.
Well, but maybe it's like the sign of the time. Like, you got to hop on it now. Like, we're kind of in doomsday world right now. And it's like, you give credit to this man who absolutely it was amazing for Broncos. It was great.
Right.
Oh, God, yeah. He did so
Right.
much good.
The Kyle Shanahan thing, I mean, you go back to it, and obviously in hindsight, we kind of missed an opportunity, right? And, he's gone to the Super Bowl with his team, and we kind of had a failed head coach for a couple of years. So, I mean, in hindsight, it looks terrible. And at the time, I honestly did think we were going to get him. But at the time, he had just lost the Super Bowl with who was it, Matt? It was the
I don't know.
Yeah, it was some team that did terrible in the Super Bowl, lost a big lead, whatever it was, and
something dirty,
35 points, something like that.
Yeah, it was
23.
Tweet.
23. I can't remember. That's so long ago.
So
that's okay. But here's my thing with Kyle Shanahan. Though, like he's not alone in building San Francisco. You know what I mean? Like John Lynch has done an amazing job, like at building this roster, and Salah too, the defensive coordinator, has built a great unit. He's coached a great team last year. So I don't know if we necessarily missed the boat with Kyle Shanahan. Like he is a lot better than I think what people thought he would be. But at the same time, I think the 49ers are more of a team-builded thing as opposed to just him. You know?
yeah.
So it's not like we would have necessarily been better if we had him, right?
Him and another former Bronco, Lynch.
Right.
Yeah.
But you got. I mean, obviously, I like to think that Kyle grew up in Denver and in the area while Mike was coaching here. But and then you have Lynch out there. He's running the team and the personnel. I mean, for all we know, they're basically both from Colorado, both Colorado kids. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about so obviously the season's going to look different. Right now, the biggest thing that we know that we're only going to have 2 preseason games. That's been official, and everything else is kind of up in the air. They have an official start date for off season coming up, and then I'm not sure if you guys saw this, and we could talk about this. Some of these rookies that are coming up here, I think it puts, especially in Denver, a lot of our players at a disadvantage that we're starting so late. Because I just saw a tweet from Jerry Jeudy today talking about how the Mile High air is really thin. He said something along the lines of, "How does anybody breathe here?" So I think it puts a little bit of a disadvantage of it. So what do you guys think about this kind of late start and just the 2 preseason games that we're going to have?
It's going to be tough on us. There's no doubt about it. I think it's going to require. Really, I think it's going to affect our team to the point where we may have to temper expectations about how good this offense is going to be, especially early on. It's just you've got so many young starters at so many positions, potentially center, 2 wide receiver spots, Noah Fant's only in his second year. So it's the kind of thing where you're not going to get as much time to build chemistry in camp or in preseason games, and that's just the way it's going to be. And it's going to, especially with a new offensive coordinator this year, it's going to be, I think, really, really tough for this offense to hit the ground running right away.
The nice part, though, is that Pat Shermer's offense is balanced and it's not necessarily exotic. So I don't think it's one that's hard to pick up. Mm-hmm. And I think he's worked with a lot of young quarterbacks before, and he's got experience in that sort of realm. So I think he's going to be smart enough to build something simple first, and then see how the season goes on and make it, more and more as the year expands and how many games end up having, right, as a team. So it'll be interesting to see. But the 2 preseason games, I'm kind of okay with it. And at the same time, I think a lot of players are, they just make it to the last cut, and that's what determines their career or not, right? So we might lose out some time.
Go ahead. Yeah, a lot of players right now are pushing for no preseason games at all.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That's their opinion too.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, but that's got to be so hard. You always think every year we have someone that showed out in preseason, right? You had Philip Lindsay, Shelby Harris, these guys that were undrafted show up and play out in preseason, and they're not. A lot of these guys aren't going to get that opportunity if there's no preseason game. Even with 2 preseason games, can you imagine one mistake and your whole career is done?
And it makes it that much harder on the coaching staff too to see what these guys can really do, because you can only evaluate so much on a practice field.
Yeah, and just like the mental stress that nobody has had to endure with what these guys are going through this year, of like thinking of safety on a different level. Like, football is a physical safety sport where you're like, oh, am I going to, pop my knee? Am I going to, this and that? It's not like, am I going to catch this virus? Which, we've never had to think about that before.
Yeah, and
it must be taxing. It must be taxing.
And there's already, several guys who've come out and said, I want to play, but we need to do this safely, or I will just not. So,
which is a valid concern.
Absolutely. They've got families, they've got kids, they've got a whole other life outside of football, and if they feel that they can't safely play this season, it's hard to fault them.
Yeah. But then, on top of that, if even without that, and it had just gotten to 2 preseason games without this concern to it, that's going to be tough for them. It's exactly right. One mistake, one anything, and you're jittered up enough anyways. You're going into the NFL. I mean, come on.
Having Von Miller on the team as a guy an asthmatic who got the virus,
and lives in altitude.
Right. Will at least kind of give us the resource of a guy on the team, a leader on the team, who will say to his guys, this isn't worth messing around for. If you want to keep playing and do this season, this is what we have to follow, the rules we have to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ryan has a good point. I mean, obviously making a roster bigger, it sounds pretty like just make the roster bigger, but it's kind of difficult because of, we just commented on that too, the salary issue. There's obviously a salary issue you have with having 90 guys on team as opposed to the 75, right? 74? Especially
if you're not having fans or limited fans in stadiums, that's where the salary cap money comes from, is the fans in the, so that's, if we're already hearing about it contracting maybe next season.
I did see that being brought up. I think it was the Ravens had already, spoke it into fruition. Like, we might only have 14,000 people in our stands, and it's like, it's already. I mean, yeah.
Packers have said something similar too. We'll just have to see on that, but. Yeah. Yeah, and honestly,
a lot of the income for the NFL, while ticket sales are a big part of the income, they're a small fraction of the really overall arching income for the It's all about the TV deals and the network deals that these guys are getting, and obviously, with less people being able to go to the game, there's going to be more people watching it on TV. So we got that going for us. Those reviews and those numbers will come back pretty high, but it's going to be interesting not seeing those sales come in from the ticket sales.
And how would the players feel? In the stand, they're playing their heart out for no cheering. Like, could they put us cheering on live through the speakers for them? Like, I mean, just like Phantom, like go, and
that's what they're going to do for that's what they're going to do for hockey. The fake noise pushed in there. So I mean,
right?
What is that just going to be?
I have the feeling
it's going to be cheesy.
I just get the feeling that leaving a live broadcast on of NFL players talking to each other during a game is going to lead to some.
I don't think people are ready to hear the kind of things that are said in huddles and bottoms of piles and on the sideline.
Yeah.
So you always see the mic'd ups. Those are edited heavily.
They mic up the whole game, and there's a reason you can only see 2 or 3 minutes of footage.
Yeah. And the cameramen are strategically good at and I'm panning away. Like, let's cut to the other camera. Like, cut to two. Dropping the
I mean,
bombs.
every now and then you'll see, they have the camera on a coach or something, and he'll just, and then all of a sudden the camera cuts out. I'm like, we already saw it. We already saw it.
I know what he said.
Get that one in time.
Everybody knows.
I feel like last
camera on.
I saw you.
I feel like last year with Vic Fangio, at a certain point, they just left it on there because every time they panned to him, there was something fresh coming out. At a certain point, they just decided, if we're going to go to him, this is what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just wishing everyone good luck. Right, that was all it was.
Well, he really likes ducks. He loves ducks, man. That's what you have to understand.
Oh,
really
man.
Quickly, for those watching, if you don't mind hitting that share button for us, really appreciate it. Love to be doing this all with you guys here, and
I'll tell you,
David said 3 weeks from training camp, and
one thing that really helps us out a lot, guys, is if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, leave a 5-star review and a comment. That helps our visibility so much. So if you guys are liking the show, go that extra step for us. We would really appreciate it.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So that being said, let's move on to the topic of the night, the topic a lot of people want to talk about, and the topic that Matt went out of his way to get his poster out of his room for. The Pat Mahomes just signed an absolutely ridiculous 10-year, over $500 million deal.
Show me the money.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of money to show you.
It's crazy.
It is. I tell you what, this is a more team-friendly contract than it looks like at first.
It does.
It
is.
basically-
I mean, it is, and it's.
The Kansas City Chiefs can basically franchise tagging Patrick Mahomes every season
for 10 years.
For 10 years. For a ton of money, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's
He's
smart for both
he's still
ends.
being like realistic with it in
Absolutely.
the Tom Brady-ish way of like, I'm gonna keep this team together, coach and quarterback, for as long as we can. And
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, it looks like when you say it out loud, like $500 million. That is a ton of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's crazy. But I mean, you look what he's done in 2 years, and look how he's already changed the game. He's the face of the league right now.
He is.
Right when the league needed a new face.
Oh, Kermit.
Kermit shows up.
There's
Old Kermit.
It was really hard buying Madden 20 because of his face being on it. It was difficult to buy, and the load screen every time I loaded up, having him on there, I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna suck for a while.
I feel really bad for you guys.
For 10 years,
I really
yeah.
do, because I love him, and I would not like to hate him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Tom Brady, I love to hate him. I love to
I
hate
love
that guy.
hating Tom Brady.
I just love hating him. Yeah.
I mean, I hate
Mahomes,
his giant,
he's a
beautiful,
sweetheart.
ugly face.
I think I'm going to hate him in the way that I hate Peyton Manning. Not quite as much even, because he doesn't, like, Peyton Manning had kind of always had this awestruck folksiness that always seemed a little fake to me. Where Pat Mahomes is just, I mean, he's goofy, but I feel like it's authentic goofy. Like, he's a fucking goofball, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to hate him mostly because every time we're on the field with him, he's going to kick our ass. Or, you know,
Not
No,
every
let's
time.
not say that. Let's
Hold
not
on.
say
Hold on.
that.
Every time.
Hold
Come
on. Hold on, because
Okay.
When was the last time we beat the Chiefs?
first of
Shut
all,
up.
I'm just being realist.
Mahomes been a part of that? But how much has Mahomes been a part of that? I mean, okay, but seriously, don't say that because things can change, especially when they've been this bad against the Chiefs for this long. We're due for a win.
well,
The Broncos can compete against the Chiefs.
absolutely.
Like, it'll be really good games.
We're going
Absolutely.
to. It's gonna happen.
And you're going to win some of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys keep an eye on the website over the next couple of days, you will see an article by yours truly. Yeah, thank you, Jared. About how the Broncos can keep pace in the AFC West over the next 10 years. If the Chiefs are going to go all, Reed and Mahomes, Brady and Belichick.
Let's make up the name for them. Like when you mesh people together, it'd be like Heed or Maheed.
Anyway,
Like the couple name.
I'll let you guys know how we can avoid being the Chiefs, or we'll be the Jet. We can avoid being the Jets or the Bills. We can they compete every season in this division.
Yeah. So real quick, Randy. Yeah, I was just gonna get to that, Randy. So I wasn't trying to talk crap about it. I said no, we're gonna come back from this, and we're gonna end up being wow. Okay, can we just guys? Can we just let me explain it a little bit, please? Okay. So what I was saying is going to be so much more difficult when you have an all-star quarterback, an all-pro, and league MVP, Super Bowl MVP quarterback for 10 years. But I do want to make this point, and it's something that I think bears saying. What quarterback other than Tom Brady has stayed fully healthy for that long? Like franchise quarterback stayed fully healthy. I mean, Pat Mahomes was injured last year. The first time we played him, he didn't even play in the game. Season. Brady lost a whole season. You're right. So even then,
injury.
Okay, but that long. But he's going to be at the end of this contract. Isn't he going to be as old as Aaron Rodgers is? Like. He'll be 37 at the end of this 10-year thing. Like that's
34.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, or is it 36?
Okay, well that's closer to 37 than 34 is.
You're right.
And I'm saying this is an old lady that's turning 35 in a couple days. So. I mean, it gets harder. 10 years. I mean, I know it's a franchise tag. He'll get paid more and more, but like, isn't he safe as far as injuries go? As far as I've read, or
yeah, he's got certain guaranteed money for injuries. He's got certain guaranteed money that he'd be even if he got injured tomorrow and missed all 10 of the years. I think he's still guaranteed like 150 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He set himself up for success. That's for sure. He set him and his family up for success.
Well, you know,
and his future family is what he said. And his future family, like he was planning ahead. Like I thought that I planned ahead. I haven't.
Well, we're not looking at 500 million over 10 years, so we got that going for us. Oh man. So
hey, keep us your comments and questions, everyone. Want to hear what you're thinking heading into this preseason and training camp, and obviously it's been a long 2020, but football is literally right around the corner, so time to start getting ready.
Here was like a simple sidetrack.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Who is drinking what bourbon?" I mean, we bring it up every time, guys. Are you drinking bourbon today?
Yes,
I'm drinking. I'm drinking Burr rum.
I'm Scotch.
That's
close enough.
That's just
a Bourbonese. It's just
foreign bourbon.
Yeah. I went a little, I went on the Evan Williams side of the cost spectrum.
A little E-dub. Nobody can hate on that. I mean,
a lot of people can hate on that. No,
it's a solid fella in my books, and I hear ya. I'm going with the bullet, and I just want to give you guys a Go Broncos cheers.
Oh yeah, go Broncos!
Yeah, go Broncos!
I think that's also a test to make sure we all actually have drinks in our hands. So
that's what she's doing. She's like, please tell me you're drinking with me.
And then she's waiting for one of us to be like, I don't have anything. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Which would be okay too. I mean,
I guess.
However you roll. All right, back to football.
Yeah, so back to football. So we have these rookies coming in. We talked about Jerry Jeudy. One more thing, NFL talk. So they just today, I think they banned post-game celebrations, post-game groups, and the jersey swaps. So that's the big thing on social media right now is everyone's freaking out about the no jersey swaps because that was kind of a fun thing for the players to have. I mean, I don't think it's going to have any impact on anything, really. I think it's going to be like okay, like whatever, that's a big deal. But there's a lot of NFL players that are speaking out like, why is this a thing?
Well, go David.
It's going to blow over. I feel like they'll figure out ways to mail them to each other. They'll do something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It just because it can't happen on the field doesn't mean it can't happen in the parking lot. So, it's going to be messed up in the parking lot.
You're allowed to, sweat and spit all over each other in your helmets the whole game, but you're not allowed to like hug it out at the end. I mean, does that even make any sense? Because I mean, the droplets are and they're supposed to. I don't know. It's just so you're going to stop that part of it. That doesn't even. They've already touched each other for an entire game.
You're right. Fair point.
I know.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to
I mean,
That's it. You've already touched each other. Game over.
We talk about it, but we're not in a position to change anything. So
I mean, but like, it'll figure itself out somehow. But really,
Right.
yeah.
it doesn't
We'll
make
see.
sense, and I agree with that.
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season if depending on fans, depending on if they do this, bubble issue. We talk about maybe possibly doing certain games only in certain stadiums, like the NHL and NBA are doing. But I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. This is gonna be a wait and see situation at this point.
And it's coming up fast. Like, it's not far away.
Right?
Like like as much as we talk about that since March to here, we're here. It is less than that distance. I mean, come on. By the time, honestly, it's going to be my birthday, which I hate to bring up again, but it is. And if you guys want to send gifts, go ahead. But seriously, it's here. By the time I hit my birthday every year, I'm like, yay, training camp, what's coming up, preseason, it's serious. And it's here. They've got to figure it out. I mean, I feel like rapid change will happen with our season. It'll either happen with restrictions, and then, I don't know, it's going to be crazy.
So Keith, I want to say you're just kidding.
I can see it.
When it's timeout, or the water people go out there with the water bottles. I guarantee you, there's going to be a sanitizer person that goes out there.
I just see it now. The quarterback coming in being like, all right, we're going to do a pro right flex, 34 dive, Texas back store. And then it'd be like, squirt, break. I see it happen. I think it'd be hilarious. Like in the quarterback's pouch is just a bunch of hand sanitizer for people. I'm
pretty sure you just wrote like the perfect SNL skit. Like,
and
then you
can just get that going with the water boy. I mean, come on.
Right.
And then like
Adam Sandler, if you hear us, make it happen.
Or like Nick Foles doesn't have his hand sanitizer in bottles; it's just in puddles in his.
It's in puddles.
What are you doing, dude?
He pulls it out from his cold gear thing, and it's just like dripping everywhere. Like here. Oh man.
Oh god.
Okay, so let's get back to the Broncos. So as we're getting ready, like Ayla said, we're here. We are almost there. It's kind of nuts. It's about to happen. If the season happens, what are you most looking forward to this season as we're getting ready to get into it, whether it be mid-season, end of the season, whatever the case is? David, we'll start with you.
For me, it's got to be these players in a second season of the Vic Fangio defense, especially Bradley Chubb. Everybody else kind of, pulled it together last season and, really had a good end of the season on the defensive side of the ball. But the addition of a player like Chubb into a defense that's, rolling with some momentum, knows the complicated things that Vic Fangio asks them to do now. I really think we could see a very special defense if we get some football this season.
For me, if
that's a good point.
Right.
Knock on wood.
All right, Kev, what do you think?
So I'm excited to see this team healthy and get to that mid-season form. Right. Obviously, with the only 2 preseason games, we just talked about that earlier. It's going to take a little while longer for the offense to gel, but once we get to that point, and if we can stay healthy, cough, cough, Bryce Callahan, this. No, but seriously, like in general, this team healthy has a lot of promise. And we're talking about we're always going to lose the Chiefs. I don't know. I don't know. You give Coach Fangio. You give Coach Fangio, some time to really get the players together, understand the concepts and the playbook, and Pat Mahomes is good, but he's not going to be, great every single time against us. Don't give Coach Fangio and the players some credit, but so that's what I'm looking forward to: staying healthy and seeing these guys really get good by midseason.
Ayla, what you got for us?
I bring it into kind of a combination of both of what they've said. I mean, I've been looking forward to a well-rounded team for a long time, and I think we're going to take experienced coaching with a new offense that has young guys, and then our defense, which is a little bit matured. I think they could gel together, and that could be like the backbone. And just hopefully have a well-rounded team if we get football this year. It's like we've been hanging on by a thread, but I think it could come together.
I agree. I think by the time we get mid-season, we're really going to have something going. But we have to understand that injuries are inevitable, and it's not if we're going to get injury. It's at what position and who, and how much it's going to impact, and how much depth we have at that specific position. For me, for those of you guys who have been following us for a little while, know I'm a sucker for the quarterback coach combo, and I think the Schumer Lock, that teamwork and that chemistry is going to be really important as we go forward, because we obviously have a super talented offense. We have a lot of playmakers and a lot of really good positions. It's going to be that relationship between Schumer and Locke that's really going to take it over the edge, and it's going to be a make or break. We can't give the ball to Jerry Jeudy and everybody every single time. We can't make him get open. We can't make him deliver the ball, or we can't It's all about that combination. It's all about that teamwork that they have and that chemistry that they have. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. And again, I think what you guys are saying too, that midseason form, it's going to be rough. I think the first couple of games in the NFL, they're going to be some sloppy games.
For everybody though. I mean,
not just us.
Go out there and literally give it your all, and it's going to be sloppy, but no, it's going to be fun to watch either way.
Yeah. Yeah, either way.
Defense has a chance to be a top 10. So what did we finish off last year? I might have to pull this up, because I'm pretty sure we finished pretty high in top defenses.
Top 5, wasn't it? I think we were. I'm
not sure, but I know we finished top 10 for sure.
Right. I think it was a little higher than that.
And again, as David mentioned, we didn't have Chubb. Chubb went out third, fourth game of the season. 11, Bryce Callahan, we didn't have all season. We didn't have a couple of these big pickups that we got in, Casey
Terrell Casey, such a fun steal. I still cannot get over how big a steal that is. Oh my God.
Yeah. I think I 100% agree. I think we're going to have I think it's going to be huge on the defensive side. I think we're going to have a top 5 defense. I agree with you. Ziggy, I agree with you. All right, so what else we got, guys? We have a huge offseason. We're trying to get some questions. If you guys have questions, please send them in. Or provide to the conversation. We love having these talks with you guys. I agree, Ziggy. With the additions of this on this defense, we're going to be a problem. So and this goes back to the Mahomes thing. I know a lot of people are talking about the Mahomes thing. A lot of people are freaking out about this. 10 years, we're going to be 10 years with this quarterback that we're going to have to go about. And now there's a chance that we have a top 5 defense that's going to be able to stop Mahomes. So is Mahomes really going to be our worry in this year, or is it just going to be one of those things where we have to look forward to being Kansas City and Denver being the top 2 in the AFC West and just trying to battle it out for the winner of the AFC West?
No, I think that's exactly what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me, any game we're not playing against KC is practice for when we do play KC. Those are by far the biggest games of the year. I don't think we're going to have a problem getting to number 2, and being able to be in that competitive spot to take the AFC West, and maybe not exactly this year because these guys are so fresh and young and people coming back off injury and stuff. But you're talking about 2, 3, 4 plus years from now, especially if Locke pays off and he is the real deal. Then, you're talking about every year it's going to be these 2 teams going back and forth. And so, looking past this season alone, it's going to be awesome.
I'm telling you guys, I'm plugging my article again. You guys got to check this article out. I have a 3-step path to competitiveness with the Chiefs every single season. You guys are going to have to keep an eye on the website. If the Broncos read it,
it's going to be.
If John Elway reads it, we're set, guys. That's
right.
It. Yeah.
The cosmopolitan of Bronco articles. I love it.
So here we go. I'm just going to show off a couple of these comments, right? So AJ says, with everyone returning from injury, This is going to be a crazy new team. That defense is going to be awesome. I agree with you. Red Cloud, one of our OGs, coming from us from the beginning 5 years ago. Locke's going to answer every time. Derek is right. Money doesn't guarantee wins. And then Red Cloud with the back with the I'm putting faith in Drew. And Cindy doesn't think he's going to be there for 10 years. What do you guys think?
Well, first off, Cindy is another OG.
So Cindy is another OG.
She's a huge follower, so I appreciate that. Yeah, 10 years. I mean, that's a long time to look down the road, but
right? Would any
maybe?
of us have guessed, like, okay, you project 10 years out from now, put yourself at 10 years ago, you. Are you anywhere where you really thought you would be in 10 years? I mean,
I have a lot of choice words for 10 years ago, me.
Yeah. 10 years ago, I said in 5 years, we're going to start Orange Weekly. And 5 years after that, we're going to be right here. So, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So Kev's the only one who always does it. We got you, Kev. I know. All right, Kev. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, 10 years ago, me is I got some choice words for him. But I agree, it's going to be difficult. And even and think about it from a football standpoint. 10 years ago, Broncos, could you have imagined that we'd win a Super Bowl and then not go back to the playoffs since?
All right.
Right? That's terrible.
You get one Super Bowl and then no playoffs for 5 years.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're right. It's hard to look back 10 years, and I mean, even 10 years ago, who would have thought that we'd have Peyton Manning? And now we're talking a few years later. Nobody would have guessed. So you're right. It's going to be difficult to see in 10 years. One of the questions that got brought up, and we have Jason responding to some of these. Thank you so much for the Justin Simmons update. There's no update on the Justin Simmons deal.
Yeah.
I know we have him franchise tagged.
Mm-hmm. We have till the 15th. If it doesn't happen before then, it's not going to happen. These take a while with John Elway, but I have faith that we will probably, and more often than not, the tag is a precursor to the deal getting done.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, luckily for us, Justin Simmons is just a solid stand-up Bronco, and he's a Bronco through and through. He's not one of these guys that's talking about sitting out for his franchise year if he can't get a deal done. So while we are tracking it and we're trying to see what he's going to get, I know he's also probably going to be working with the Broncos. This isn't one of those things where it's us versus you kind of thing, which I feel confident and happy for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right, so let's look over. So we got a very new looking O-line this coming year. Obviously we have some returners. Garrett Bowles is going to stick around. Obviously Dalton Reisner is going to be sticking around, but for the most part, we have a new center. Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be playing center as a rookie. What do you guys think of this O-line?
So the first big question is who's going to start that left tackle position, Bowles or Wilkinson? So, that was one thing. That was one big part of the preseason I was looking forward to playing, is when that first team was out there, the first stringer guys, who was going to, battle it out and look better. So now we get a limited, chance to see how that's going to play out. But I think that's a big part of the line right there. Garrett Bowles was, stat-wise improving at the end of last year. So, okay, see if he keeps that up and see if he deserves that number one spot. But I think you got to have Wilkinson in there ready as a backup because, that left side's been such a problem for so long. Locke can move around, not like Flacco who just stood there. So that does help, but still, you can't just worry about that left side every single time. So,
right, and that's it's bad for the Broncos if Wilkinson wins that job because you don't want that if you're a Broncos fan. You don't want that if you're a Broncos coach. No offense to him, he's a player who works very hard for what he gets, but you do not want him winning that competition.
No, it's up to Bowles.
But the other thing too, you got to look at Bowles. I mean, granted, in the last 4 or 5 games, he didn't have a lot of penalties. He was actually playing really well. He was one of Pro Football Focus's top-rated left tackles in the last 4 games. But what was he playing for? And I think that was a big thing. There was no real pressure. There was no real it was at that point we were completely eliminated from the playoffs, and it was just okay, play your best play to stay here. But I mean, I agree. I'm super excited for this offensive line this year. I think
There could be. Everybody wants to discredit Bowles. He's stuck in there a little bit. I want to count the guy out because I hate penalties and I hate seeing that, and it feels like I see his number pop up all the time. But also, as much as everybody brings it up, he did seem to get better once Locke was in there, and I don't know on his part, like, was he actually just trying, or what was that? I kind of go off numbers, and his jersey just wasn't popping up as much. It still was there. Like, let's not lie about that. But I mean, I'm also a benefit of the doubt person. Like, I want him to keep going. Like, they believe in him enough to be there, and he's part of our team. I don't want to cast him out. Like, he's there right now. So let's use him. Let's make him better. Let's take his size, and he's been there a while. Like, just make it better for reals, though.
Yeah.
And Jason's killing it with these comments, guys. If you guys are following us in the comments, so before Locke, 68.1, after Locke, 85.7. That's a huge difference. Granted, and you also got to think about and if you followed us last year, I was a huge hater of Joe Flacco. He just stood there. He didn't really step up in the pocket. There was a lot of things going on, and that affected a lot of our offensive numbers in general. And we can go down this path another time. But ultimately, what it really came down to is having a leader and somebody who could be able to escape the pocket and be able to sense pressure a little bit better than old man Flacco.
And that's what the QB does. Flaccid Flacco. I hate it, but he wasn't erect. He wasn't. He didn't stand up for himself.
Cheers. I love it.
I just meant he didn't stand up for himself, you guys. Like, he wasn't standing straight. I mean, he wasn't erect. Man. Come on.
You're not wrong.
He wasn't. I mean, he'd stand there, but he didn't move. He didn't jive. There was no motion to it. There was just him. It was just him standing there. And I wanted to believe in him too. So there's like Mrs. Optimistic and these believing in Bowles. I believed in Flacco till he didn't show me what he could do. But Bowles, come on, you're still on the team, dude. Bye-bye. That's it. Flacco.
So would he have been any different?
No.
So I mean,
no.
Because the new coordinator needs more mobility, not less.
Right. Oh, I know.
I mean,
I think it's an important question to say. No, it was Flacco.
Yeah, so, no, it was, and you saw it at the end of his time in before he got hurt in Baltimore as well. You saw it towards the end of the time, and that's why it wasn't a hard decision to keep in league MVP now Lamar Jackson over him in Baltimore, and I think that we kind of got the short end of the deal because we thought we saw something in him, and exactly. Elway tried to recreate the Manning era. And it didn't work. We took a gamble, and it failed.
That's what we talked about a lot last year, was Elway's mindset of being in this win now mode.
Yeah.
Why is he going for, hey, if I just have a couple more key pieces, we're going to be in the Super Bowl again? And it very clearly for 4 years in a row wasn't working. Last year, 5th year, definitely not working. And I think what we've seen, especially over the last 2 drafts, was that mindset change of, you know what? We really got to rebuild this thing from the ground up because we are not a couple key pieces away from a Super Bowl.
Right.
And I think that was trying to recreate the Manning era to some degree at least. But I think John Elway has moved past that. I can just see it in his moves and what he's doing in the offseason.
Yeah. Joe Flacco's just not a starting quarterback in the league anymore. That's the end of that conversation.
I agree. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to a comment back here, and I'm going to get on a high horse here, if you guys don't mind.
Oh, dear.
So Keith asked, do you think the press is intentionally trying to start shit between Lindsey and Gordon? And I'm going to go with, Keith, I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. As much of the media as we are, again, we definitely don't like to say that we're part of the media. We definitely are just here to be fans and talk to you guys and chit-chat with you guys. But man, can I not stand clickbait / anger media / whatever you want to call it. And that's exactly what this is. This is 100%, people trying to get people riled up about other things. And I mean, how many successful running back duos are there in this league? And how many successful running back duos have there been in the past, and the thunder and lightning concept that we've been going to. And if anything, there's very few one running back teams left anymore. It's 100% the media trying to, get into people's heads about, oh man, there's going to be some drama here and there, because at this point we're all in quarantine. There's no sports on the TV, and there's got to be something to read. And at this point, I think they're running out of material, and they're just trying to create something. I 100% agree with you.
Yep.
I'm down off my high horse.
No, it's the off season. That happens every off season. There's always something to get riled up about that is either just completely not true or just way blown out of proportion. I mean, beyond belief. So that's just this year's thing.
I agree to the point where there's, writers out there are going to write what they write because they want people to click on their stuff. I will say I don't think it's completely invented by the media. I don't think Philip Lindsay was happy at all about it. And if you've been watching his Instagram posts and what he said right after, and when Melvin Gordon talked to the media himself, he said, yeah, I talked to Philip Lindsay and he wasn't very happy with me.
Right.
So, I don't think it's a complete invention of the media. I think it's definitely the kind of thing where the media is overblowing it a little bit, but.
Yeah, but this is we're talking. I mean, of course he was mad. I would have been mad too back in when it first happened. But since then, they've publicly come out and said that they're super happy for each other and super excited to get working on this with the new offensive coordinator. It's going to run them both in a split back set. Like, what do you do?
Well, and that's the other thing. That's not something that Pat Shurmur runs a whole heck of a lot, to be honest with you. So we'll see how that works out this season. I would not be surprised if we didn't see them on the field that often together.
I mean, that's kind of a combination you can't pass up on, though. Like, obviously not every single down, right? But if you have those two players and you only kind of utilize both of them at the same time, maybe one or two times a game.
Right.
I mean,
but
why
Pat,
are you not
Pat
taking
Shurmur didn't run it because Pat Shurmur didn't run it because he only had one running back.
No, that's true.
We'll see. I don't know.
I foresee a Pat Shurmur double running back shotgun set. You don't know who's getting the ball on either side. Plus, we have powerful tight ends. Great pass catching tight ends and amazing speed on the outside. It's gonna be tough to stop if that's where we go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they would only, they're human beings. We're competitive. They're NFL players. Like, you take somebody like Philip Lindsay, who has proven his greatness and how awesome he is, and then you pull in another player who, not that the Chargers were my favorite team to watch, but he is a great NFL player. And there's going to be some, duality. I don't know what the right word for that is, but they're going to feel some sort of competitiveness, but they're going to also realize that, hey, same team,
right?
Got to make this work.
If it makes them better,
and it's gonna and it should make them better. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna get a break if you're not working together, and when you are working together, you have exponential growth between the two of you. I mean, that is a cool thing to do. So, of course, the media is going to take that and be like, this is a good story. That's what the media's job is to do. But then also as players, they're going to realize, and hopefully they'll gel together. Hopefully it'll all work out. It could be a really great thing. I hope it's a great thing. It should be.
No, I agree. I think they're both great in the passing game. Here, Ziggy says they're both great in the passing game, can catch and run, which is scary for a defense. Yeah. Like I said, I can't imagine them not going with a couple double running back sets. But, we'll see what happens as we get into it. And again, the last thing I want to say, too, is, again, I think you're right, David. There is a level of, it wasn't very happy at the beginning, but the media is blowing it out to be like an Aaron Rodgers getting mad about Jordan Love being drafted, which is a completely different story.
Right.
Right. In that situation, there's one position and that one person plays every down. Like, this is a completely different situation.
This is totally different.
Yeah.
So what else you guys want to talk about? We run out of stuff here. Let's look back on some comments. Thank you guys so much for commenting. Thank you guys so much for pushing the conversation. Again, this is why we do it. We do it for you guys. We do it just to talk Broncos, and especially in a time where especially in a time where there's no sports right now. I think this is definitely good. I think we're all having a good time.
A little bit of golf.
Oh,
right. What was I watching? I was watching sports.
Hey,
I think I was
man,
watching like
Kev,
the European
we're
League
gonna go
soccer.
soon, dude. We're
Yeah,
gonna go.
Yeah.
there's Bundesliga. Come on. That's pretty
I was
high
watching
quality
like European League soccer, and I think they either had like cardboard cutouts or some sort of like stuffed animals in the stands. I thought that was pretty funny.
And for anybody who really needs some quality entertainment with sports, there's Marble Olympics. It's been okay. No, it sucks. It totally sucks.
Sorry,
Don't watch
there's
Marble
what?
Olympics. Marble Olympics, like marbles.
What
It's-
Marble Olympics?
My husband found it. It's.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh,
I
but
would
when
love
they're
to hate it, but
they're
it's
rolling down the hill, and you're calling, "Oh, Red pulled into number one, first
they've got
place."
teams, they've got stadiums. It's a real thing. Yeah.
But
We're
this,
3 weeks away from football. Like,
I know. Can we just have football so
Thank
I don't have
God.
to talk about Marble Olympics?
we just need to be sane for 3 more weeks. Let's just keep our sanity for 3 more weeks, please.
I'm hanging
man.
on by a string, man. Marble string. Dang it. I'll stop.
Oh man! All right, I think that's
Okay.
gonna be about it for us.
Yeah, at this point, we might want to wrap it up for the night.
Yeah. So, all right, one more plug. Thank you guys again so much for joining us and watching. Thanks so much for listening on your podcast again. Please go on to Spotify, iTunes, and rate the podcast as we post most of these live shows also on our podcasting sites. We have a lot of really cool stuff coming to this year. We can't wait to roll it out for you guys. One of those things is that we are going to have articles. We're going to have an article. I've had too much drink. All right, we're going to have an article coming out here pretty soon, but we're going to have more articles coming out. That written media piece of it that David is much more smarter than I am on, and I'm excited to start on that.
If you guys like Broncos history, keep an eye out. I'm starting a series called 7 Before 7. It's 7 Broncos players that played before John Elway that every Broncos fan really needs to know. Cornerstone players of a franchise that existed for 23 years before Elway came. So, yeah, definitely something to watch out for if you guys like to read Broncos history.
Yeah, I'm going to need to read it because I'm obviously terrible at trivia. So I'm definitely going to need to read that one.
Right. I know.
But so thanks again, everybody. All right, final thoughts, everybody, as we go around, as we're 3 weeks away from hopefully starting a season. Final thoughts. We'll start with you, Ayla.
I was like, fallen plate? Okay, because everybody knows what that sound was. I'm excited for football. If it happens, even more excited. If it doesn't happen, let's keep camaraderie of football because that is what it always brings it all together. As much as I hate any other team, there's something about football that is super fun. So with or without a season, let's all stay together and get through this. That's it.
Oh, and if there's
Go
no
Broncos.
guys, Jared and I are going to be playing all the games once a week. We're going to
We'll broadcast it.
on Madden for you. We're going to broadcast it. He's going to beat
Okay,
you every
I'm
time.
in for that too. I
I'll call
have
the
my
game.
cheerleader outfit. Like I'm in.
I
was waiting-
Later, I'll call it. You guys will. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you could be the commentary. I was waiting for David to admit that he was going to lose every time, but he did. So I'm happy. Yeah.
Definitely trash at Madden. So if you guys want to see Jared kick my ass every week, if there's no season, definitely tune in for that. That's going to be real entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 8 interceptions, guys. I'm telling you, it's comical how bad I am.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, Kev, what are your final thoughts here?
Final thoughts is, you suck at trivia, and I'm just a little bit better. So I mean,
And unfortunately,
I gotta brag.
that's truth.
Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
It's sad because it's true.
Illy, you're awesome. Yes, it is. Fantastic. I sleep better at night just knowing that I've beat Jared at trivia multiple times.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I stay up all night, so I hope you're happy.
studying so you can beat me next time, right?
No, that'd be productive.
Gotcha. 3 weeks. Lot can happen in 3 weeks, as we've seen from this year, but hang tough, and we're not going anywhere. Obviously, if something did happen, then we would change our content to match the situation. But we're not going anywhere, and hope you guys are excited for the season because, like Jared said, we have a ton of awesome stuff coming up for you guys. 5th year anniversary of Orange Weekly, so we're going to be bringing it strong. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, guys. Even if there is no season, and we're all hoping that there is,
We're
gonna
not
be
going
here
to
for
skip
you.
our 5th year.
You don't get to get rid of us that easily. Like, we'll be here.
Seriously, it's half of Mahomes' decade.
Right.
Yeah.
We will be here to talk whatever tiny amount of Broncos there is to talk. We're going to do that for you guys because we have no lives and nothing better to do.
It's
Got
true.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and the Broncos are worth it, and so are fans. So are the fans. So is football. It's worth it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Cheers!
Absolutely.
That's my mom.
Cheers.
Same
Yay. Cheers, Ayla's mom. Thank you. All right, with that being said, thank you guys, everybody, again for joining us. Make sure you guys are rating us. Again, this has been awesome. I hope you enjoyed it, and we're gonna end it with one last Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know